Happy New Year's Eve, football fans. Welcome to another edition of the Air It Out podcast presented by Inside the Hashes. My name is Juan Pablo Gordon Camargo, and I'm joined with a full slate of football experts here today. I got Avery Collins on my left. I got Darius Riddick right over there. And I got the big trust himself, Mr. Dan Braxton, right before me. What's going on, guys?
Yo,
what up?
What's good, man?
What's good, people? What's good?
Guys, the end of the year. It is the end of 2020, a year of quite a lot of ups and downs. Let's not, get going about it. There's been a lot of highlights that we want to remember and a lot of lowlights that we'd like to forget. But let me ask you just around the horn real quick here. What's a highlight of 2020 that you want to carry into 21 to keep the energy going? I want to do it sort of Avery, then Darius, then Darren. So roll it.
Ooh, a highlight. I started the School of Ministry, so that is phenomenal. It's been very challenging, but it's also been very eye-opening, and I'm excited and prepared to see what God is going to
do. For me, it's working out. I definitely did stop for a while, but now I know obviously everybody has that New Year's resolution to work out, so I'm gonna be one of those people to actually get back to working out again because it's definitely helped me through some tough times in life. Whenever I was feeling down or stressed, I would just go into my garage and just pump some iron. So definitely want to take that into 2021.
For me, honestly, it's kind of a two-parter. I got engaged, and then right after, I started a new career as a high school teacher for 9th grade. So that's what I'm trying to carry in, the goodness and basically the happiness that I've enjoyed this year, even with all the craziness going
on. Congratulations, sir.
Congrats on your engagement.
Appreciate it.
I don't know if I can top any of those achievements, honestly. I'm kind of on the Darius train with working out. I'm on the Avery train with regards to school because I got my master's from Syracuse. And I'm on the Darren train because I was able to meet a little nice person by the end of the year. So I have a really good connection. So overall, I guess the most thing I'm really going to remember is this is the year where I feel like I got my redacted together. This is the year where I finally have a path to what I want to achieve and how I'm achieving it. And it is translating to all of my work and success, not only here on Inside the Hashes, but in everything in life in general. So I think that's what I'm thankful for the most.
Yeah, man. I mean, 2020 was very interesting, very tumultuous year, but at the same time, we made it this far. So
absolutely,
blessing.
And just like one of the quick hype, like we at Inside the Hashes, we set a goal for followers and subscribers and stuff. And as of today, the Inside the Hashes YouTube channel has hit 100 subscribers. We started out with 25 to start the year. We're ending it with 100. Let's go, you guys. Let's go.
And that's all thanks to you guys, man. Shout out to you guys. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate all the support, man. Thank you guys for watching and supporting us and sharing and continue to do so because 100 is just the start, y'all.
Mm-hmm. Over the first 100 here out of 2020 made 2021 be filled with 100 and so much more. And
let's go for 100,000 in 2021.
Ooh,
I like that. I was gonna say
me too. I like that.
Go for it. Why not?
Big.
You heard us, man. 100,000 by the end of 2021. That's the goal. That's the dream. That's what we're aiming for. And we're transitioning out of 2020 into 2021. But before we transition out of this year, we got to stick around just a little bit longer to transition into our rundown for today. And first thing on the rundown we got rolling here today is that on Thursday, the NFL Players Association president, Brown Center J.C. Treader, is calling for the elimination of off-season practices, including minicamp and organized team activities, citing that the NFL's relative quality of play during the 2020 pandemic-influenced season has been much better. The coronavirus pandemic eliminated the NFL offseason program this year as teams leaned on virtual meetings instead, rather than leading to a sloppy and injury-filled season, Trotter wrote in his statement to the NFL. He says, quote, "Our collective level of play across the league has actually never been higher. As evidence, he pointed to a record-setting number of points through 16 weeks of play, lower penalty numbers, and fewer missed tackles." And there are some people that are arguing whether or not there is any validation to what he's saying, but we'll break that down right afterwards in a bit. And in some playoff consequential news, Miami is going into Week 17 without their quote-unquote relief pitcher, as Ian Rappaport tweeted on Thursday. That backup quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick has tested positive for COVID-19, and he is ruled out of Miami's Sunday season finale against the Buffalo Bills. Miami has signed Jake Rudock to their active roster to back up Tua Tagovailoa. But big picture, but if we're talking big picture here, guys, Fitzpatrick's availability for a potential wildcard game is also in jeopardy, as thanks to the mandatory 10-day minimum Fitz has to serve in order and to stay away from the facility, he could miss a potential wildcard game should Miami make their way into the postseason. And then we're going to wrap up the last rundown of 2020. What a bit of great news for the football fans up in Western New York. The Mafia is back, at least in limited capacity, as New York Governor Andrew Cuomo announced on Wednesday that Bills Stadium will be open to a limited number of fans for the playoffs. Bills games have been closed to fans for the entire 2020 regular season as part of New York State's COVID-19 protocols regarding professional sports. The plan is to allow 6,772 fans in attendance, with attendees needing to register a negative COVID test before being granted entrance. The team will work with the state's Department of Health to conduct contact tracing afterwards, and fans will have to socially distance throughout the stadium, wear masks at all time, and those who fail to comply with these rules will be ejected from the game. And with that being said, that was the last rundown of 2020. That graphic came up. Another thanks to all the 100 subscribers, 101 now, actually, like the Dalmatians that subscribe today. We love you guys so much. And I'm going to go and start out our rundown breakdown. I'm going to start off with Darius and his breakdown of what he thinks the Bills playoff looks like. They haven't had fans for the longest time up in Western New York. Now Bills Mafia is back to support the Bills on their potential Super Bowl run, as they are one of the top favorites to make it. What do you think? How do you think about letting fans back in for the playoff run?
I think it's a good idea. I mean, we got to look at week one, right? Kansas City was the first team to really have fans. They, like I said this when we talked about this early in the season. Kansas City was really going to be the team that really set the blueprint on how the fan interaction was going to be. And so far, it's been pretty good. Obviously, they have to register a negative test before they get in, and then social distance. So I think it's cool that the Bills are going to have their fans there, and a playoff game, a home playoff game. Potentially, if they win, they possibly have another playoff home game, depending on who they play in the second round. But I think that the Bills deserve this, and the fans deserve this. This is a team that hasn't won a division in 20 plus years. They finally won the division. They host a home playoff game. So I think this is the right thing to do. And then, like you said, the NFL and the state of New York is taking the right precaution with it, socially distancing. You have to, quarantine obviously after you're done and register a negative test. So I think it's dope that the Bills fans get to see their hometown Bills potentially make a deep playoff run. And it starts
for that deep playoff run. Quick yes or no, just yes or no real quick. Can they beat the Chiefs?
No.
Okay, we'll leave it there.
No.
And we're gonna stick in the AFC East for a bit and like kind of break down this Ryan Fitzpatrick news. Darren, like when Flores broke down saying that if we need a relief pitcher when Tua is struggling, we'll put in Ryan Fitzpatrick, and it's been 50-50 when it comes to a relief pitcher. He lost because Fitzpatrick lost against Denver, but he had that huge comeback win against Las Vegas. So how devastating is this Ryan Fitzpatrick news for Miami's playoff push?
So it hurts them, but it does not hurt them to the extent where it ruins their chances. They started Tua Tagovailoa for a reason over Fitzpatrick in the first place. So this is finally going to give him a chance to prove what he's worth. It's a Week 17 matchup against the Buffalo Bills, and they need to win this game to make sure they make the playoffs. I don't know how much more pressure you need to show up and show out. But if he's going to do it, this is the time.
A quick yes or no, real quick. Is Dwayne Haskins an option for backup?
No.
I had to ask, man. I had to ask. And finally, we're going to end it with the first story we broke today about the NFLPA, J.C. Treader, proposing to end all offseason activities. going forward. While the numbers are actually quite impressive for what the 2020 pandemic has been, the rash of injuries that the league has had to start the season are no joke, as we lost a lot of stars as a result. Avery, what do you think of Tretter's comments about canceling the offseason regimen as a whole?
I think it's completely foolish, is what I think. It doesn't make any sense at all. Like, I mean, he talked about, okay, the points being up over this 16-game season. Well, that's because that's what the NFL wanted. That's why they changed a lot of these defensive penalty rules, right? They even got rid of, again, the challenge for passing interference. Why? Because we don't want to see any more passing interference calls. We want you guys to push off and score touchdowns. That's what we want to see, right? So I don't want to hear anything about, points being up and then this whole, guys are tackling better. Well, yeah, because they know if I miss one now, I can't say, I needed. I didn't have practice or anything like that. It's the game now, right? We're in the game now. So I think it's stupid. I think it's foolish when he talks about the injuries. Man, listen, injuries are going to happen. I mean, you could attribute the fact that we had, I believe it was prior to week 4, 7 torn ACLs. Like, that's ridiculous. And we're not talking about just, and I hate to use a measuring stick. We're not talking about people who play on the bench or third or fourth. We're talking about stars. We're talking about starters, impact players on these teams who are out for the season because of, in my opinion, lack of preparation prior to the season. They didn't have the training camp and different things like that. So I don't want to hear anything about that. I think it's completely foolish. And to be the head of the NFLPA, I feel like that, to me, would raise concern. If I'm a player, I would be like, do you really care about my safety?
Well, to be fair, Jason Tretter is an offensive lineman. He's a center. So he is one of the top guys to always experience constant injury, as he's always constantly colliding. But yes, you do make a fair point, Avery, in that regard, saying it is just a foolish thing to do, not to recommend it. But with so many superstars out of the equation for this year, it did open the door for a bunch of other superstars to come and shine their lights for this year, which brings us into our first topic of the day, NFL season awards predictions. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we cannot get to every single award that is being given for the NFL honors. We're doing this because it's the end of the regular season, and it's only in these 17 weeks that we can actually evaluate who deserves these awards. But we're not going to touch upon every single award. We're saving that for the show right before the NFL honors, so tune in for that when it comes. But right now, we're only focusing on 3 categories, focusing on Coach of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, and Rookie of the Year. Guys, remember, 1 minute on every single topic. I'll be going around the horn asking you who deserves what. You give me your nomination for that and then break down why and as quickly as you possibly can. I'm going to give the floor first to Darren, then to Avery, then to Darius. So, Darren, who are your picks for those 3 categories? You're on mute, my friend.
Coach of the Year has to go to Brian Flores. The Dolphins are almost in the playoffs and for sure going to basically be in. Let's be honest, no one expected it. No one. My Defensive Player of the Year candidate, I don't want to say it, but it really might have to be TJ Watt. If it doesn't go to TJ Watt, then it has to go to Aaron Donald or Xavier Howard. If one of those two do not win it, that is a travesty. But my pick, honestly, is TJ Watt. The guy's been an absolute monster on that side of the ball. 15 sacks, literally 2 forced fumbles, and a pick. The guy can literally do it all. And then for Rookie of the Year, maybe this is a little biased, but I like Justin Jefferson. That's just a personal thing. The guy has been explosive. He has been basically almost a number 1 target for Kirk Cousins when Adam Thielen is not playing his best or he's getting double covered. He is taking advantage of that. He is playing a Calvin Ridley role to a guy that always gets double covered.
Gotta say, I'm surprised you didn't go with another AFC North contender for Defensive Player of the Year, with Myles Garrett having the monster season that he's having. But in either case, Avery, your picks for those 3 categories.
All right.
Feels like we lost Avery there for a bit. So Darius, give me your 3 picks for the categories.
So coach of the year, I like the Brian Flores, but I mean, come on, we got to give this man his flowers. It has to be Andy Reid. I think what he's done last year, obviously coming back in the Super Bowl, coming in this year, and arguably he should. That Kansas City team should be undefeated. Like they should have an undefeated season. I mean, yes, he has Patrick Mahomes, but what he's done as a whole, I definitely think we have to give Andy Reid coach of the year. I'm not mad at the Brian Flores pick. Offensive, we doing offensive rookie or offensive player? Which one are we doing?
Defensive player of the year.
Okay, so defensive player, I'm gonna go with Aaron Donald. I mean, the guy has just been a train wreck. Last year he wasn't really talked about. I think he took that into consideration coming into this year, and it's like, you know what? I'm gonna come out here and I'm gonna be that guy that people remember me as. I'm gonna be that defensive tackle that's gonna register over 15 and a half sacks and possibly 20, but he obviously is not gonna get that. An offensive player of the year, I'm gonna go with Deshaun Watson. And I think
no, dude, we're doing offensive rookie. We're doing rookie of the year.
Okay, rookie, I'm sorry. So offensive rookie, I'm gonna go with Justin Herbert. The man's a complete stud. He came in this year, arguably he had a lot of doubters saying that he was not going to be able to do anything well. He took over the start for Tyrod Taylor, and he broke Peyton Manning. He broke the record for most passing touchdowns. Finished the year over 3,000 yards. So I definitely think Justin Herbert, obviously in year 2, is going to elevate, especially if the Chargers decide to go with a different direction with a new head coach. But I'm not mad at the Justin Jefferson pick. I definitely think it's a two-way tie between those two guys. I wish they get the award.
It could be like rookie of the year awards usually is always favored the quarterbacks, but in recent years it hasn't always been the case. Outside of Kyler Murray, before that was Saquon Barkley, before that was Alvin Kamara, and a couple years before that was Odell Beckham Jr. So there could be non-QBs in contention for this award this year. Until Avery comes back, I'll just give my quick picks really quick. My first coach of the year absolutely has to be Ron Rivera of the Washington football team. You cannot tell me that a man that has survived cancer, has survived Dwayne Haskins, and has survived Dan Snyder, and able to put a winning football product out on the field does not deserve coach of the year consideration. Plus, look what he's done to transform that defense. It's not just Chase Young out there. It's Rivera's scheme, his specialty, and being able to train defensive backs into being shut down secondary. Bar none, it's out of this world. And that actually pivots into who my defensive player of the year pick is, which it has to be Xavier Howard. He has been by far an underrated corner down there in Miami. Is the fact that he has been part of a losing culture for so long that he's been so underrated in the NFL circles. But he's getting his light, and he's getting his day in the light. He passed your guy J.C. Jackson in interceptions and leading interceptions. So I'm hoping he ends the year in double digits at the very least. And then my quick pick of the year, I'm going to have to – actually, no. Here's my pick. I'm giving it to James Robinson, the undrafted rookie for the Jacksonville Jaguars, because you can't tell me that an undrafted rookie running back who was 4th on the depth chart shot himself up the first after Leonard Fournette was traded away, and another running back got injured, and another one got COVID, and that he was able to elevate himself in that position to not only rush for 1,000 yards, but to be the sole driving force for that Jacksonville offense. So yeah, Ron Rivera, Xavier Howard, and James Robinson. Those are my picks for the awards. Yeah, the coach of the years in the NFL is the Cleveland Browns head coach. What is this? They cut a buck title to the Super Bowl with a terrible blank Washington. And what? Who is this?
I have no idea. But real quick, I do like the Cleveland Browns head coach as a possible candidate. He got the Browns almost in the playoffs.
Well, hold on, guys. Guys. Give Avery his chance. Give Avery his chance. Avery, your picks. Go.
I don't know if you guys can hear me.
We can hear you.
Yay, nay. Y'all can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I got interrupted there. The Wi-Fi acted crazy. But like I was saying, I would agree with Darren on Coach of the Year. I believe that Brian Flores is deserving of that. Like, I had a slight inkling to put McDermott in there. But I think I agree with Darren. Nobody expected this out of Miami. And so that's why I'm going to have to go with Miami. Defensive Player of the Year, again, I'm going to agree with Darren. I'm going to go with TJ Watt. He's been a man possessed this year. leads the league in sacks, like you said. And we thought that he wouldn't be as effective without Dupree going down for the year, for the remainder of the year.
Seems like we lost Avery there again.
All right.
I guess it does.
Let's just go jump into our next segment here today, which is the status of Dwayne Haskins, a former first-round pick for the Washington football team. Former Ohio Buckeye, as that previous comment had mentioned there earlier. Let's just break down what happened to Haskins. He was released by the team on Monday. Rivera said that he, quote, Avery, quick, give us your Rookie of the Year pick before we jump into the Dwayne Haskins pick.
Is he frozen?
I think we lost him again.
Okay.
So let's break down this Dwayne Haskins news. Like I said, he was released from the team early on Monday. Rivera said that he believed it was in the benefit of both parties to go their separate ways, and that he thanked Dwayne for his contributions for the team. Here were his contributions. He first off was fined $40,000, and he lost his captain's rank after he was caught partying with strippers without a mask on in an Instagram video. And then here were his 2020 stats: 61% completion percentage, 1,439 yards, a 5-7 touchdown to interception ratio, and a 30.7 QBR rating. And remember, this guy was handpicked by the owner, Dan Snyder, to be the franchise quarterback with the 15th overall pick. The then head coach at the time, Gruden, did not want Haskins whatsoever. And Haskins had his knock as being a check down quarterback. Avery, quickly, your Rookie of the Year picks. And he's frozen. Oh, no.
He's good.
All right. Oh, my. Sorry, guys. Jeez Louise. You get technology, man. This Wi-Fi stuff is just retarded. Anywho, as I was saying, Coach of the Year, Brian Flores. Defensive Player of the Year, as Darren said, TJ Watt. If not him, Aaron Donald. If not him, small case for, I would say, J.C. Jackson, honestly, over Xavier Howard. And the reason why is because of the fact that on the other side of Howard is Byron Jones. And so, not to say that Stephon Gilmore isn't good, but he hasn't had the year that he had last year and different things like that. And the Patriots just haven't been good at all this year. So I would have to go with J.C. Jackson because he's been a bright spot in that defense. But Rookie of the Year, I'm actually going to go against the grain here. I was going to go Justin Jefferson. Obviously, if Joe Burrow didn't get hurt, then I think maybe that could be a case. And then I was thinking about Justin Herbert, but I'm going to go with Antonio Gibson. I mean, he started the season. I mean, he beat out Adrian Peterson and J.D. McKissick for the starting role, and he's been balling the entire year. He's an every down back. He can do it all. I actually think that Washington might be under-scheming him a little bit. I think that he could be used more as a Christian McCaffrey type player. He can catch the ball. He can run the ball. He's got power. He can run routes. I mean, he's just phenomenal. So I would go with Antonio Gibson there.
It's funny that you say Gibson because we were just talking about the Dwayne Haskins Washington football team news about it. And, you already know the situation. I already filled everyone in. So the biggest question to ask here is what's next for the former Ohio State Buckeye, former first overall pick? I'm going to start with Darius on that one, then Darren, then Avery.
I mean, it's sad for Dwayne Haskins because if you guys don't remember, early in the year, I was kind of high on Dwayne Haskins. Remember last year, towards the end, we all agreed that he was starting to really understand the NFL. He was starting to play just a little bit better. So I thought coming into this season that obviously, that we didn't know what was going on with Alex Smith. So I thought Dwayne Haskins was actually going to produce, and this team was going to actually they're not a bad team. Obviously, they're, on the close to winning the division. But it's just I thought Dwayne Haskins was going to put up some solid numbers. Juan, you read those numbers. Those aren't numbers that I was expecting. But honestly, what's next for a former first-round pick? I mean, he has that on his resume. He's a former first-round pick. I can definitely see him getting signed, arguably as a backup for any team that can use a backup quarterback or to a practice squad. But I think his days as a starting quarterback, no team is going to give him a chance to be a starting quarterback. I think teams are going to look at the situation and say, hey, you know what? We're going to give you a chance, but you're going to be a backup or you're going to be a practice squad type player. I still think obviously he can play in this league. Obviously, we know what he did in college. He has some type of success in the NFL, but I don't think a team is going to bring him in with the means of him saying, "Hey, you're gonna be a starting quarterback for our team. You're gonna be a backup."
Kind of jumping off that point, Darren. Darius said that like he had some success in college. Remember, he went to Ohio State and he was in a system that was pretty QB friendly, especially with the check down. It was, and a lot of people said his skills would not translate well into the NFL. Has that been proven true thus far, or are we being too unfair?
So if this was just his rookie year, I would say yes, we're being a lot unfair. But you gotta understand, this is now his second year. He's had mostly a full off season, but it was interrupted, so it was a little bit different in capacity. It wasn't the normal OTAs, it wasn't the full workouts he was used to, things like that. But the lack of smarts, I would want to say, of just going to the strip club while you're trying to win a division, not just a playoff spot, but a division crown. And you guys do not have a winning record. That is amazing. But you decide to do that, it just doesn't make sense to me. So I honestly do agree with Darius a lot on how he's going to get handled. But to say that his skills have not been seen, it's been seen. Unless he's going to change the way he comes to work every single day or change how he goes about his business, period, we already know what he's going to be. He's going to be that backup guy that's going to come in and hopefully not lose you again.
And you know what? That's actually bringing up a really interesting point. I want to bring out to Avery because I trust his talent evaluation really well, especially when it came to draft picks. Who would you rather have as your QB in the future right now? Dwayne Haskins or Josh Rosen?
So before I answer that, Darius had a comment.
I was gonna say, Darren, you made an excellent point about his work. He's gonna have to work. He's gonna have to show every team that, hey, you know what I did back then. I've grown from that, because every time he goes to a team, they're gonna bring. That's probably the number one question. They're gonna ask him, how did you grow from that? And then another thing is too, and this is the last thing I'll say, that kind of reminded me of when the New York Giants wide receivers was on a boat, and they was on a boat just taking a picture. It's like, yo, you have this is the time where you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, you're supposed to be locked in, especially in a wild card game. You know what I mean?
So
at that point,
I want to point out a couple things. So first, to answer the question, I think I might still go Dwayne Haskins. The only reason is because of the fact that I think he has a higher ceiling, right? I think Josh Rosen is probably the better overall quarterback, but the ceiling for Dwayne is higher, I think, because of the fact that he has a little bit more in his tool bag, right? I think he's a little more athletic. He's a bigger guy as well. You know, both of them can spin the ball. We're not going to deny that about either guy. But I think that Dwayne Haskins has a little more in his tool belt because, you know, if the pocket breaks down, you know, he's shown that he's capable of making some moves. So I think I would probably still go Dwayne Haskins, depending on the system, though. Now, with that being said, I think, you know, he's young. So I think he's feeling himself a little bit, you know, going to the strip club and different things like that. But I also think that this was a wake-up call. You know, he was in interviews and you could see how distraught he was and how upset he was with what happened and with his behavior. Hopefully it was sincere. And hopefully, like you guys alluded to, he learns his lesson and he walks a higher path and understands, hey, I can't make these same mistakes, especially when I'm not performing on the field. It's one thing if I was, you know, it's like even with Odell Beckham, and the Giants receivers in that playoff game that you alluded to, Darius, Odell still produced, right? Odell still was phenomenal, not only that year, but in that game he had over 70 yards and a touchdown. So it's not like he didn't produce. It's one thing to produce and act up. The NFL will kind of give you a slide on that when you're young because they're like, okay, you're young, you're getting money, whatever. But when you're young and you're not producing, you're just throwing back-to-back picks into coverage where you're like, dude, did you watch the film at all? It's
just
like
This is the kid that charged to let people into his draft party because he was so confident that he was going to get drafted.
Yeah, and so my whole thing is he's got all the tools, right? He's got all the tools. I think he just needs to get in a system where somebody's going to take him under his wing. And to Darren's point, he's got to get it between the ears, man. It's not your talent alone is not going to do it in the NFL, and I think that's one of the things that he's learned, and maybe that's a reason why he's a little bit more downtrodden because maybe he doesn't have the confidence that he had, coming out, as opposed to somebody like a Tua Tagovailoa and Justin Herbert, who they're like, I got this. This is, Tua talking about, oh, this is easier than I thought, So, and that's just because he's like up here. He's cerebral. He's like, I got this already. The physical aspect, that'll come. He said it's still faster. That'll come. But right here, oh, I got this. And so it's got to be it's the opposite for Dwayne, but he's got to get it between the ears and shape up.
Really quick, before we move on, I'll pose the same question on to Darius and Darren, but just one word answers: Josh or Dwayne?
I'm gonna go Dwayne.
Dwayne.
I'm the only guy here that I think would pick Josh Rosen, to be honest, mainly because I feel like Josh kind of has a bit more of a mature aspect to him already in a way. And also, you gotta understand, this kid was not given a fair shake from the beginning. Kyler Murray came and kicked him out of Arizona. Tua Tagovailoa came and kicked him out of Miami. We haven't really even seen the full potential of what Josh Rosen can do. I'd really like to get a much bigger sample size just to see. At least give him a shot.
Could we say the same thing for Dwayne Haskins? I mean, he comes in as a rookie. Then his head coach is going. They bring in another head coach who's like, well, I want my starting quarterback. Brings over Kyle Allen and then bumps him down to the third string quarterback. I mean, could we say the same thing? And then now it's Alex Smith. Now, granted, we don't know what happened in training camp. Maybe they just outperformed Dwayne Haskins, but that could be the case as well in Arizona. So I don't think it's a fair shake thing. Because initially that's what I was thinking. I'm like, here we go, another black quarterback who doesn't get the shot, doesn't get the shot that a Baker Mayfield got. Because Baker Mayfield was horrible his first 2 years in the league.
Oh yeah,
he wasn't good. He just wasn't good. But we're seeing, he broke the rookie record for touchdowns, but he also threw a ton of picks, and the Browns didn't go anywhere. And then the next year, he definitely regressed. And now we're seeing that Baker is literally a product of give me a good running game and run play action off of that. We didn't get a chance to see that from Dwayne Haskins. So initially that's what I wanted to think, but I'm like, I don't think it's a race thing this time. I think it's just a situation where he wasn't, one, playing well, two, he got a little full of himself because he was, he's young, and it's a situation where, he's got to mature. And I think with Josh Rosen, it's a situation where we see Kyler Murray's that dude. Simple as that.
Really quick before we move into our game picks.
I will add this. I think he needs to go to a team where they have that. They will mold them into that type of person with a locker room, that veteran leadership. We think of locker rooms like, I don't want to say it, but the New England Patriots, right? The Baltimore Ravens. Like, these are type of locker rooms.
Team.
Yeah, like these are teams where if you're kind of
a person,
you can go in there and obviously they'll mold you into a better player on the field and off the field. So
is Jerome just saying that as being objective football analyst, or is that the Michigan State Wolverine coming out there a little bit?
No, that's an objective take right there. Because Dwayne, I was the same way. I did not believe in Dwayne Haskins coming out of Ohio State. He was a 1 year starter. It's not like he did. I mean, to me, he looked like a project. So for Washington to take him, I was just like, okay, well, maybe they saw something that I did, but I thought he was a project from the jump. And so, that's just really what it was. Jerome's right. He doesn't have it right now. Simple. And that's what I said. I don't think it's a race thing.
Well, look,
he just doesn't have it right now.
We can talk about this till we're blue in the face all we want. Point of the fact is, we wish Dwayne Haskins finds a better situation wherever he goes. Also, all young quarterbacks, for that matter, they find good situations wherever they go. Like, let's say Rosen stays and becomes the new project for Kyle Shanahan, and Jimmy G finds his way back to New England. We're not, but that's another topic for another day. Right now, no Michigan bias. Ohio State had great receivers. You're right. And I'll grant you that, Jerome. Just making sure. I'm just keeping an eye out just to be sure. And with that being said, we're moving into our final topic of the day, which is Week 17 season finale game picks. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the final countdown. And I'm not singing that song. But we got a good slate of games to pick with, a lot of them with playoff implications. And, I don't know where to start. I would love to go for the obvious picks, but I want to give it all to you guys first to see who you got in mind. So I'm going to give it over to Avery first, then Darius, then Darren, and I'll end it with myself.
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Juan, you haven't spoken truer words about, these playoff implication games, man. It's beautiful. I'm not sure what to pick. I mean, Bills, Dolphins, like, come on, man. You got it right there. That's just the Bills lose that game to go down to number 3 seed. The Dolphins win and they're in the playoffs. It's oh my goodness. Like, the playoff implications there. Then you got the Steelers and the Browns. Oh, the division is still open, y'all. The Steelers didn't clinch. They didn't do it.
Didn't they? They did clinch the AFC North. They did, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. I was going to say that's kind of crazy. But even still, again, it's a situation where the Browns, they've got to win. They still got to win to get in. So they're going to fight hard, and the Steelers don't want to deal with the Browns in the playoffs. So they're going to play hard. They're going to come, and it could be a situation where they expose the Steelers. I mean, Giants, Cowboys, that one right there. I mean, I believe that division is still up for grabs, and the Giants are right there, for the taking. The Cowboys too, because they just beat the Eagles, so it's going to be a hard-fought game. I mean,
what's your game of the week? Your game pick, my bro.
I'm getting there. Falcons, Bucks. Falcons want to play spoilers. Come on, man. That's going to be a great game. But for me, easily, without question, game of the week is the Cardinals and the Rams. That is the game of the week. Come on, y'all. Like, that's the game of the week. I mean, that one right there, first of all, the way they play each other every single game is just phenomenal. So it's going to be a hard-fought game. The Rams, you just lost again. You gotta show that you are a playoff team, because I believe it was around week 12 we were talking about the Rams as being a potential Super Bowl team. Now it's like, not sure. So that's mine. My hot take though from that game. Y'all ready? All right. Jared Goff outduels Kyler Murray. Throws 5 touchdowns, 0 picks.
Goff is actually out.
And that's what. Oh yeah, he is.
Goff is out. He's out. The thumb injury.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
He got the thumb injury, so he's
not playing. Yeah, man. John Walford leading the track, man. First, you don't know that the Steelers won the AFC North. Now you don't know that Jared Goff is out. Come on.
Last that I saw was Jared Goff was questionable. They weren't sure. Oh man,
and Jacob just owned you.
Oh man, what did he say?
He said, "I don't know, man. I have no faith in Jared Goff leading a team into serious playoff contention." Oh no, we lost Avery. That take was so bad he had to leave. Oh no, we'll get it back in a bit. But Darius, go into yours now.
Avery talked about a couple of games. I think the Pittsburgh game is an interesting one because it's Mason Rudolph versus Myles Garrett again. Like, do we not remember last year? The last time these guys played, the Steelers are resting Big Ben, which I think is a great idea because you got a quarterback that's 37 years old who these last 4 weeks hasn't been playing like he was early in the season. So I think that's going to be a good game. Avery took my game in a week. With the Rams, obviously, I was going to say that just because Kyler Murray's battling a leg injury and the Rams don't have their starting quarterback, and both teams are fighting for a playoff spot. But what I'm going to go with, man, I'm going to go with the classic game, the Bears versus the Packers. The reason why is because the Bears have been hot these last 4 weeks. Now, you say, who do they play? Okay, that's cool, but they have an opportunity to play a little bit of spoiler alert with the Packers and knock them down from the number 1 seed. And they also have a chance to make the playoffs if they win and a couple of things go their way. So that's one of the games I'm looking forward to see if Mitchell Trubisky is the guy that the Bears feel like he is. And my hot take is the Chicago Bears defeat the Green Bay Packers by 17 plus points, and Aaron Rodgers struggles. He throws 2 interceptions, and the Bears win.
You're telling me the guy who's the clear obvious MVP candidate right now, the guy who obliterated the Bears on Sunday Night Football earlier this year, the bad man that is essentially all what Green Bay embodies, is going to get beaten by Mitch Trubisky.
Hey man, Avery took my game of the week, so I had to go up with the backup, man. So yes.
You know what? I'm dumping ice water on you, man. Now that is a spicy pepper, but I'm getting indigestion just thinking about it. Oh man. And Darren, please save us, bro. Please save us.
All right, people. So I will bring
that Jacob pick right there.
I will bring some semblance of continuity and structure to this here. So as Avery was saying, the implication games is the main ones I'm thinking of. And honestly, this is what I'm going to do. My game picks of the week are all the implication games for the AFC because that race is hot. And you got to understand how hot it is. When you have 4 different teams at a 10-5 spot, all vying for 3 different playoff spots, when has that happened? When in the NFL history has there been 4 10-5 teams that can get in? It's ridiculous. And not only, oh my God, it gives me goosebumps, honestly. But
your game of the week is Ravens Bengals.
Yep.
Yeah.
No. Listen. My game of the week is all 4 implication games: the Colts and the Jags, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Browns, the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills, and the Baltimore Ravens and the Bengals. That's my game pick because of all the implications that's going to be done. And my hot take is this: the Buffalo Bills get down to number 3. Miami gets in. We get in. Pittsburgh is number 2. The Browns don't get in.
Ooh.
Get in over the Browns.
That's a little hot.
That is spicy.
That's a little hot.
Oh man, it's just too spicy for the pepper. Oh, that's a good take. That's a good take.
Listen,
you just don't want to Cleveland, Darren.
Listen, I'll be honest. We already beat them twice, but I would love to see Cleveland in the playoffs. But I think that the Steelers going and knowing that they still have a shot for that number.
It's all Steelers backups, though. There's no viable star on that team going into Week 17. Granted, Cleveland is missing, their top corner in Ward when they're going in Denzel Ward, but if they lose to a team that's starting backups, that is a serious issue and a sour note to end Kevin Stefanski's.
I'm just going to put it out there. The Steelers lost to us with our backups in last year.
Yeah, but you have a better offensive coordinator.
The Browns have Kevin Stefanski, who we just mentioned as a possible head coach candidate, who is also calling the plays. So
we'll see.
Any given Sunday, people.
We'll see. It took Lamar having to get off the porcelain pony to come to orchestrate a comeback like that. That's how it happened. But you know what? I'm gonna have to counter with my Week 17 pick of the weekend. It's a surprising one. No one's really considering it. Maybe someone is. I'm going with Jacksonville versus the Indianapolis Colts. And let me break this down. First off, the Colts are coming off an embarrassing loss to the Steelers from Sunday. They let them come back from a 17-point deficit to try to score, and they squandered it. They could have locked up the AFC South right there if they had won that game, but nope. They let Big Ben come back and just orchestrate a typical Steelers comeback right there in the middle of it. And also, let's not forget, Phillip Rivers said earlier this week that this could be his last game. He could retire after this game because if the Colts don't make the playoffs. And Jacksonville already has the number 1 overall pick locked up. They don't have to lose anything anymore, but we all know players and coaches don't tank. Front offices and fans do. So Jacksonville has something to play for. They want to be able to go out of this year with a bang. And also, let's remember, the only win that Jacksonville has this year is against Indianapolis. Now, whether or not Marrone starts Gardner Minshew over Mike Glennon is a mystery because I don't know what to expect coming out of there. But should Minshew start? Here's where my hot takes get a little spicy. First off, in an unrelated game, since the Chiefs are starting their backups against Los Angeles, I think the Chargers are going to pull off the win over Kansas City on Week 17. That's my upset of the week. Secondly, here's my other hot take. Gardner Minshew will have a repeat performance versus the Colts in Week 17 as he did in Week 1, where he went 19 of 20 for 173 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions for the Jaguars win. And I'll end it with this. Phillip Rivers will throw as many interceptions as Gardner Minshew will throw touchdowns. 3 of them. And that's going to result in the Jacksonville Jaguars upsetting the Colts, kicking the Colts out of the playoffs, letting Cleveland into the picture for them to set up a meeting with the Baltimore Ravens.
Juan just doesn't like the Ravens and the Patriots. I'm convinced there.
Wait a minute.
I can understand
the Jets get the number 1 pick?
What?
I feel wait, do the Jets get the number 1 pick?
No, they don't. But that's not what I'm counting this on. I'm counting this on the fact that Jacksonville wants to win this game. And they want to win this game. And also, it's not that I don't like the Ravens, but y'all got a little too big in the britches last year after you got kicked out of the first round. So I'm here to temper the ego. And also, Patriots fans, you didn't know a losing culture in years. It's time you got humbled.
Take it.
It's a in the face. We will spoil you for
Take it.
years, okay?
No playoffs. Sit home while you watch us go.
It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. When you lose your offensive coordinator to a head coaching position, we'll see if Lamar can still perform.
Whoa.
Listen here. The only thing I know is this. The only person that's going to take us out in this playoff is Patrick Mahomes. Ain't nobody else stopping us.
Derrick Henry,
really
you mean too?
Good.
I don't know. I mean, Derrick Henry did a pretty good job pushing you out of the picture.
Nope. We good. We in it.
Gonna push y'all.
You good? If I see Derrick Henry not use Marlon Humphrey as the same way he used Earl Thomas as you.
The disrespect from my way is ridiculous. When
you gotta love Jerome.
Wait a minute, we have another winning team on this show here.
What?
We have another winning team on the show here.
No, we don't.
I mean,
that's kind of our job as fans of losing teams to really rain it down on the team that's winning.
And this is
hashtag 350.
Here it goes.
Hashtag 350. And it's my job as a Jets fan to humble all winning team fans who get a little too big in the britches. Right now, whether it's Eagles fans, Ravens fans, or Patriots fans, I will always come down and rain the pessimism like it's a freaking carpet bomb. But with that being said, we are ending this year's edition. This is our last Inside the Hashes Air It Out podcast for 2020, guys. Again, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for helping us hit 100. Let's not go for 1,000 next year. Let's not go for 10,000 next year. Let's go for 100,000 YouTube subscribers by the end of 2021. And remember, guys, for all of our podcasts, for all of our audio content, you can check us out on Spotify, on Anchor, on Apple Podcasts, anywhere that you listen to good podcasts and audio. Inside the Hashes is there. You can also check these live stream podcasts as well as our creative video work and Madden gameplay on our YouTube channel, as well as on our website, InsideTheHashes.com, where we have all of our blogs posted for all you guys to enjoy and read. And go ahead and follow us on our social media. Go ahead and join our Discord because we just love talking football, you guys. It's not just in these squares. We love talking it anywhere at every time at all levels, whether it's at the high school level, the college level, the indoor football league that apparently that Johnny Manziel is going to be a part of, the Canadian football league that he got kicked out of, the arena football league that he couldn't even qualify for, and the NFL where he dropped like a rock.
Wow. Juan is on fire today. Somebody get the horn.
My man, Juan.
Somebody get the horn for Juan.
And also, guys, remember to follow us on our social media. On Facebook, we are Inside the Hashes, the football group. On Twitter, we are at Inside Hashes. And on Instagram, we are at Inside the Hashes. For Darius Riddick, for Darren Braxton, for Jerome Jones, for Jacob Kippen, who was commenting on us tonight, and for Avery Collins, who we missed, had to drop out because of the bad signal that he was experiencing. My name is Juan Pablo Guarin Camargo. This has been the Air It Out podcast, the last one of 2020. Happy New Year to everyone. We will see you next year.